Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing Canada. A lot of job openings for Canada. If this is your first time on my channel, you're welcome. My name is Ammy. I'm a content creator and I have a lot of videos that you might be interested in. All the links to my videos will be dropped in the description of this video so you can check them out. If you haven't subscribed to my channel and you love content that have to do with immigration, then this is the right channel for you. Kindly hit the subscribe button and ensure that your bell notification is turned on so you don't miss out on any of my videos. Don't forget to always give my video a thumbs up. It helps my YouTube channel a lot. Please share my videos with your friends and your loved ones and keep watching.
Hello guys, you're welcome to Immigrate with Ammy. Today we want to focus on how you can find Lmia approved jobs in Canada. When we talk about Lmia, which means Labor Market Impact Assessment, this is more or less an authorization that an employer within Canada needs before they can employ someone that is currently outside Canada. So if you're an employer in Canada, the normal thing would be for you to hire people who are already within Canada. That makes a lot of economic sense, and the government is mindful about this factor because they need to understand what will be the impact of hiring a foreign worker instead of hiring people from within Canada. In most cases, if the employer can actually demonstrate that he or she has tried to fill up a position within Canada and has been unable to do that, then such an employer can actually apply for this labor market impact assessment. There's a particular government agency that handles that. So being able to hire a foreign worker depends on the result of that assessment. If the result is negative, meaning that hiring a foreign worker will have a negative economic impact, then such an employer will not be able to actually hire someone outside Canada. After the assessment, if the result is neutral or positive, then it will be approved for that particular employer to actually hire someone outside Canada. When you are looking for a job as a foreign worker that is currently outside Canada, your best bet is to find jobs for which Lmia has been approved. So the employer already has authorization to actually hire people from outside Canada. And that is the information that I'm going to be showing you in this particular video, how you can find such employer. Guys, you're welcome to this portal called opencanada.ca. This portal actually has a lot of database, and one of such database is a record of how many Lmias have been approved by the government of Canada per quarter. So on this page, if you go below the page, basically you would see a report of employers who have requested a labor market impact assessment and were actually issued a positive Lmia. So it's usually a quarterly report. If you go to the end of the data that is currently available, you would see that the last one was for 2023 Q1, so the first quarter of 2023, which I have also opened here. So what this data shows you is it shows you the territory, it shows you the type of the job sector, if it's a high wage job or low wage job. It shows you the name of the employer, the address of the employer. It shows you the occupation code, okay, and the name of the occupation for which the Lmia has been approved. It also shows you the number of Lmias that were approved for that employer, and then how many positions that the employer can hire for under each of the approved Lmia. Okay, now I'm going to show you why this information is important. First, you can see the information by province or by territory, starting from Newfoundland and Labrador, for example, and you can see this employer right here, AB Clark Electric Limited. You can see the address. You can see that this employer has received an authorization to hire administrative assistant, okay, for only one position. So this person under this, approved Lmia can hire one person who is in the field of administrative assistant. Forget about, all of these boring numbers. What you should look out for is, first, look at the Lmias for which the employer can hire multiple positions. For example, if you look at this one, you would see that under this one, the employer can actually hire 12 people under one approved LMIA. This one, the employer can hire up to 21 different people from outside Canada. If you go through the data, in fact, you would see, for example, this one, there are 2 LMIAs that were approved for this employer, all right? And under these 2 approved LMIA, the employer can hire 65 people, all right, from outside Canada, and the list goes on and on. Now, what I have actually noticed in this data is that if you look at the LMIAs for which we have multiple positions where the employer can actually hire a lot of people, they are related with the first one. This one is related with occupation code 9463 for fish and seafood plant workers. Okay, if you look at the next one, 25 people, so these are 25 positions attached to this single LMIA. What is the occupation? It's also laborers in fish and seafood processing. Let's move on. This is another huge one right here. The employer can hire 65 people under these 3 LMIAs. And what is the position? Fish and seafood plant workers. Let's move on to the next one. The employer can hire 80 people under this single LMIA. What is the position? Laborers in fish and seafood processing. Let's move on. The employer can hire 118 different people from outside Canada under this one singular LMIA. What is the position? Fish and seafood plant workers. Okay, now we are just talking about Newfoundland and Labrador province alone. What am I trying to show you? This information or this database tells you which of the job categories have more LMIA approvals per province. And then if you are looking for a job in Canada, you can actually focus your search on those job occupation areas because those ones actually have more LMIA approvals. What this also tells you is that in most cases, employers are unable to find people within Canada to fill these positions. So any job that is related with, for example, fish and seafood plant workers, laborers in fish and seafood processing, and other related areas, what this tells you is that in most cases, employers in Canada are usually unable to find people within Canada to fill this kind of jobs. So these jobs are actually open to international applicants who have the necessary skills, who have the necessary experience, and they already have LMIA approvals for them to hire this huge number of foreign workers. Okay, so you can go through this data. I'm going to put the link in the video description for you to focus your search. For example, when you're looking at this data, focus on the approved positions, focus on the occupation, focus on the employer, and then focus as well on the territory. So you can start with Newfoundland and Labrador, for example. You can see the employers right here. You can see the number of positions for which they have received authorizations to hire people from outside Canada. Just to give you an example, in the first quarter of 2023 alone, employers in Canada actually got authorization to hire almost 60,000 people from outside Canada. You can see the numbers right here from the database. This is huge. And this also shows you the possibility that as a foreign worker, you can actually get LMIA approved jobs in Canada almost easily in most times. Okay, this data will help you to navigate those job sectors for which employers are actually looking for people outside Canada, because they have been unable to find suitable people within Canada to fill up these positions. After taking a look at this database, when you have been able to observe those points that I pointed out, for example, the ones with the huge positions, which occupation codes and stuff like that, how does it help you as someone who is looking for a job in Canada? It helps you because if you go to job portals where you can find jobs for people outside Canada, for example, this job bank, you need to understand that on job bank, there is a mix of different types of jobs. There are some jobs that are only meant for people within Canada. All right. There are also some jobs for which the employer are actually able to hire people from outside Canada. All right. That should be your focus. The advanced search button on the Canada Job Bank helps you to actually find the job categories for which there are multiple LMIAs approved for those jobs. If you go to Job Bank and you click on the advanced search, it brings you to this page where you can set certain criteria. For example, you can search for jobs in Newfoundland and Labrador just by selecting that particular province here. The next thing is that you can also filter more by looking at the job categories. We can look, for example, for the jobs related with fishing. At least we saw in that database that a lot of positions have been opened. The employers have gotten the right authorization to hire people. So if you go to natural resources, agriculture and related production occupations, under that you can also go down and look for job sectors that is related with fishing or aquaculture. So let's go down on the list. So you can see managers in natural resources production and fishing, aquaculture and marine harvest laborers, livestock laborers. So basically, you can use this advanced search on the Canada Job Bank to filter for the jobs for which you can see on the database that there are multiple LMIAs that have been approved for them. As we saw, for example, in Newfoundland and Labrador, most of the approved positions where employers can hire people outside Canada is in the area of aquaculture. So laborers in fish and seafood processing, fish and seafood plant workers, and other related job areas. Okay, so if you go to the Canada Job Bank, you can filter by jobs in this area and apply for those jobs, because the employers, most of the employers in those job category, they have been able to secure LMIA authorizations and they can hire people from outside Canada. So guys, I mean, getting a job in Canada with LMIA approval is not something that is too hard. It only requires you to do some form of research. You can base your research on this database right here. All you have to look at is the territory or the province, look at the employers themselves, look at the occupation, and look at the approved positions. Okay, you would see that for some of the job categories, they only have one approval, two approvals. Okay, so those ones are not much, but there are certain job sectors. For example, look at this one: 15 positions, 17 positions, 65 positions, 15 positions. If you look at those four, for example, you would see that these are in fish and seafood plant workers, laborers in fish and seafood production. What that means is that you have more chances of getting a job in these areas than in other areas as a foreign worker if you are applying to a province like Newfoundland and Labrador. That is how you interpret this data right here. So you can make use of that summary or that conclusion to look for jobs in these areas, because it's easier for you to get a job in this related area in Newfoundland and Labrador than in other job categories. This is how you make use of this information. And with this information, don't forget that this database is from the Canadian government, okay? And this is for 2023 Q1. So the employers already have the approvals and they will now begin to start hiring people based on these approvals that they have received, okay? So when you go for job hunting on platforms like, Canada Job Bank or other platform which you have shared in the past, make sure that you focus your job search as a foreign worker in the areas for which there are multiple approvals. You can also go down and see, for example, let's take a look at these huge numbers again. So we can see 80 positions, 118 positions, 22 positions. They are also in the area of job category 9618 or 9463, which is related with laborers in fish and seafood production. Okay, so this is the commonest job to get in a place like Newfoundland and Labrador if you are a foreign worker looking for opportunities in Canada. And then it goes on and on. If you move to other provinces, you can also check and find out, for example, which job categories have the employers been able to secure multiple approvals to hire people from outside Canada. For example, this is Prince Edward Island. This is an employer who has gotten 3 LMIA approvals, okay? Now, those 3 LMIA approvals allows this employer to hire 148 people from outside Canada, That is how it works, okay? And if you look at the job category again, this is job category 9463, which is what? For fish and seafood plant workers. So even in Prince Edward Island, employers have secured multiple approvals to hire people in this particular job category. So this is an opportunity right here. So you can go through this data, look at the province, look at the amount of approvals that they have gotten, look at the amount of positions, look at the job category, and then focus your search in that particular province to those categories where employers have secured huge number of approvals. You have more possibility. There is a higher probability for you to get a job in those areas because the employers already have Lmia approvals. Okay, so this is how you find a job using information that has been published by the Canadian government to easily navigate your way into finding which job sectors have multiple approvals and which job sectors are more difficult for employers to find people within Canada, and they have actually gotten the approvals to actually hire people from outside Canada. Okay, so this is just, you know, one of the tips that you can use as a temporary foreign worker to land a job easily in Canada. So we'll drop these links, okay, for you to be able to also have access to this data. Then you can also check out this Canada Job Bank. As you can see, we are only filtering by job for which the employers have received authorization to hire international candidates, okay? And then you can now use the advanced search to check the job sectors, to check the territories, to check the provinces. And then after using those criteria, it gives you the job for which you have already filtered for the ones with the highest possibilities, and then you can now decide to apply for those jobs. Okay, so this is one of the best ways that you can find Lmia approved jobs in Canada. When you get that, the employer already has the authorization. It's easier for the employer to consider you as a foreign worker because they have already received the authorization to hire foreign workers. Okay, so guys, this is a quick one. We wanted to drop this for you. This is a very good tip. It's very effective. It helps you to focus your effort on the jobs for which you have a higher probability of actually getting, instead of just applying for any open vacancy. If you use this tip that we have shared in this video, then it's easier for you to get a job in Canada. In fact, we are talking about Lmia approved jobs. So if you apply and you have the right profile, they would consider you and they can employ you right away without the need for further approval from the Canadian government. Okay, thank you so much guys for watching. Don't forget that we also provide one-on-one consultation if you need hand-holding, or if you need to speak with us one-on-one, or you want us to help you review your profile and help you suggest ways to actually make getting a job or immigrating to Canada easier for you. We also do that. Reach out to us and then we can kickstart the journey. Thank you so much guys for watching. Have a lovely day.